Hey everyone, as you guys can tell by the video of this, and I'm sick and tired of fucking having to record it like 4 times because the audio wants to fuck up. Because this is like the 8th time I've tried to record this. Thank you guys so much for. Sorry about that, but thank you guys so much for watching Assassin's Creed 3. I know you guys can go to other people who have done it in the past, but you guys did come here to watch it with me, so thank you, like 1,000 times thank you. A little recap of that, and we now, technically, we're not completely done, but we are done with the Desmond story, which means Desmond won't be as big a part of the story, like we're not going to be able to play as him like we did in Revelations and the other games where we were outside of the Animus. So we are going to strictly, as in this, we are Avila, something along those lines. I forget her name. I don't know how to pronounce her name because it's technically French. She is actually the next assassin who, in the story, Abstergo actually, she is the first, not only the first playable female character, but she is also the first ancestor where we do not have to be part of the Animus, where Desmond does not have to be in it. They finally made an Animus that lets you walk through the life of a different ancestor, of someone else. So she's a big step. After that, we go into, which she is the next game. She is also during the Revolutionary War, but she is in New Orleans, which means we're going to be fighting gators, we're going to be going in the swamps more, we're going to actually have to work with climbing trees more, which we should have been doing with Connor. We're going to have to work with more trees and more ambush style assassination attempts, not just what you always see me do where I rush in, kill everybody, or I use the certain traps that we have. She gets to use outfits, she gets to use different things. I haven't really played Liberation before. So again, 3, Liberation, Unity, and Rogue. These games I haven't really played, and the newer games I haven't played because I started recording and they just keep making another game. So, yeah, so we're going to continue through. But like I said, basic story so far. Desmond gets kidnapped from a bar after he escapes from assassin school, pretty much. Becomes a bartender. He gets abducted by Abstergo. They put him into the Animus. We run through the lives of Altair Ibn Lahad, who is the first assassin from Assassin's Creed 1, where he first discovers the pieces of Eden, that his trainer Al-Mualim is actually a Templar, and we kill him, finding out a map where more pieces of Eden are. Later on, we are actually kidnapped from Abstergo by one of our friends who we thought was a doctor for them, and she actually helps us with the bleeding effect from the Animus to learn all the skills not only from Altair but also from Ezio Auditore de Firenze, an Italian Renaissance assassin, and thought to be the most deadly assassin. Altair had the knowledge, while Altair had the knowledge while Ezio had the skill. So after that game, we go into the second game, where we're still trying to figure everything out. We start to get glitches in the Animus where it's like, okay, what's really going on? Where Ezio actually loses his piece of Eden that he took from the Pope, Borgia, and his son actually comes, attacks the villa, steals the apple back from our Uncle Mario, Rip Mario, and we have to continue our campaign in Brotherhood to get the apple back. We kill Borgia's son, I forget his name, but in the effect of doing that, we actually unlock the first civilization, a group of people who actually made the pieces of Eden and all these first civilization artifacts. When we go to one of their temples underneath, I think, the Vatican or something along that line, or the Temple of Juno. The first civilization actually gains control over Desmond, and he actually stabs, I think it's Lily. I think her name is. I forget her name because it's been a little while. Because we found out that she was actually a double agent. She was actually an assassin turned by the Templar Abstergo, and she was passing on information so they could actually get hold of the Animus and Desmond. This led us into Revelations, where Subject 14, the person before Desmond, had to tutor him inside the Animus, saying you have to separate these two stories, both Altair and Ezio. You have to finish these stories for you to be done with it and be able to separate yourself from everything. We go through, find out that Altair rebuilt the assassins after he had actually lost power, was sent into exile, and Ezio, now very into the later parts of his life, he actually went and tried to figure out all these stories of Altair, the first parts of the Assassin's Creed order. He finds Altair dead and another piece of Eden. And at that moment, he actually stops being an assassin. We find out in a after movie that Ezio actually dies of a heart attack at, I think, 86, I believe. Look up Embers. I know I left it in the Revelations at the very end of the video from the original source. But after that, we go into this. Now that Desmond was pulled out of the Animus, we actually go through it again in a new place because we now know from Revelations that a disaster is coming, like what hit thousands upon thousands of years ago, which decimated the first civilization, and man was able to repopulate and take control of the earth, where a solar flare actually destroyed a lot of life, burned the entire earth, and life had to restart. That being said, now in the 21st century, December 21st, 2001 or 2012, they had to save the earth, and we had to go through, as you saw in this game, the entire story of Connor, because he has a key that will get us through the temple. Now that Desmond has saved everybody, now we have to just follow the story of, okay, now the others, Sean, Rebecca, Desmond's father, we have to follow them on their story to try and figure out, okay, now that everything's taken care of, where do we go from here? How do we stop the Templar from taking over and trying to control everyone into their own little regime? In the next game, I don't know how it sits in the story, but I know the game after Black Flag, we find out a lot. Like, we find out a few new things about the story, which to me is kind of cool because of what Desmond, you find out, is. They talked a little bit about it in 3, where he's called a prophet, where he has DNA that resembles very close to the first civilization. It's very cool. It's very informative. I personally love the story of this game series. I've said in the past, I love the story, because who knows what actually came before human civilization actually evolved into, oh, we're sentient beings, we're gonna kill everything in sight and build a condo. It's just kind of unique in the story, because we keep finding different things that show us, oh, people were taller, like 6 feet tall. There were femurs found that shows that people could be like 13 feet tall and weigh about 400 pounds. We found all kinds of different fossils showing massive creatures that could have swallowed a man whole. Who knows what came first, and who knows what stories the Earth has seen, gotten rid of through a disaster, like something astronomical like a solar flare, a meteorite, and we will never know until like years later and be like, oh, here it is. So it is kind of unique. That being said, like it says here, thank you guys for watching. I know I'm rambling a little bit and giving you guys a little backstory before we go into the next game. But now that everything is done, the campaign and now the DLCs, which shows that Washington was an asshole until we kicked his ass. I want you guys to see all that so you guys can be like, ooh, I want to buy this game, or ooh, I don't want to go through all that. Because there is a lot more besides what I did. There's a lot more side missions. There's a lot more story that I didn't get to go through. So, without further ado, I want to say thank you guys for watching. I've wasted about a little bit over 11 minutes of your time. So, thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, leave a like down below. Subscribe today, and please remember to have fun playing in the dark. Let's start off a new series starting next week, Liberation. Thank you and have a good night.